Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes. It's half time. Celtic versus St Johnstone, and Liam Carrigan has a very choice jacket on. What's the jacket you've got on there, Liam?
Well, it's not actually a smoking jacket, despite what you might think. Although that would be appropriate right now. This is just a sort of well, in Japan it's called a happy coat, which is quite appropriate, I think.
Oh,
It's
very appropriate.
basically a goonie. It's basically a goonie, but it's quilted and it's nice and warm because it's bloody freezing here right now.
Has that got anything to do with Stamatolopoulos? I've been practicing that for the last half hour.
No, but that is as good a segue as any. Let's get ripped into Rangers.
Listen, we will be talking about the Celtics and Johnstone game, but come on. Motherwell 2, Rangers 0 at half-time, whilst obviously Celtic taking care of business here at Celtic Park. It's Celtic 1, St Johnstone 0, virtue of that man Nicholas Kuhn's opening goal. You always think back, or I certainly do, Liam, when you see a reaction from a crowd who basically are telling you that something somewhere is happening in Scottish football. And always think back to Love Street 1986. And today, the Celtic crowd left us in no doubt whatsoever that things were happening at Fir Park. Motherwell 2-0 up at half-time. Faded blue seats and booze. That's all we wanted for Christmas. That's what we're going to get.
Oh God! You know, I was going to get some work done tomorrow, but I'm just going to have to spend the whole day listening to meltdowns.
It's brilliant, Liam. Yeah, it's brilliant. And by the way, I make no apologies for getting stuck right in about it. We will, as I say, be analysing as best as we possibly can the Celtic versus St Johnstone first 45 minutes. It's been incessant pressure from Celtic. They have just been, wave after wave of attack, Liam. So many good performers all across the park. I guess what I would ask at halftime, in all seriousness, just before the mighty Quinn comes back, because what he's been doing is running about his garden, just cheering and screaming at the fact that Celtic are now, as we sit here right now, and anything can happen, 15 points ahead. Quinny, 15 points ahead, mate. That's remarkable.
What a first half of football, eh? Definitely not a 0-0 with Motherwell anyway. That's right out the bag now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, what a 45 minutes, eh?
Brilliant. I mean, my predictions are out the window, Quinny, but you know what? I'm quite happy that they are because I predicted that Motherwell would be a goal up. They're actually 2 goals up. There you go. Liam's in his happy jacket or his smoking jacket, and we're all going to enjoy this. But I was just saying there before you jumped in, Quinny, Celtic, first half. I mean, the only thing surprising is the scoreline, really, isn't it?
Oh, it's been breathtaking to watch, and I was really interested to see the midfield coming into this game, as we spoke about in the pre-match, and it's it really further highlights to me what I've been kind of chanting for quite a bit this season, like where we try and get McGregor into one of these more advanced positions, because if you look at Bernardo in this game, like what do we miss McGregor in that position? In this sort of match? Not at all. Bernardo's taken 1 or 2 touches, and it feels like we're attacking quite a lot because McGregor likes to get like 50 passes in the first half, and Bernardo's got like 8 or something, So it's been really front foot. It's been really good to see. It is St Johnstone, they're not in great form and all the rest of it, but it's been a really exciting match for it being only been 1-0, I would say.
Yeah, it has been, and it's been wave after wave of attack. I think there's been some really good performers in the first half. We were very interested, Liam, to see how Celtic could perform without Callum McGregor. That man who's ever present is just omnipresent within the Celtic side. And there's always going to be that reliance on McGregor. We take him out today, and it's an opportunity for the other 3 midfielders to express themselves. Quinny makes a good point. The one guy who's standing out more than anybody for me is Engels, probably because he's been involved in so much of the attack and play. And, I thought he played really well at the weekend, so he's following that up with another decent performance, I think, Liam.
Aye, it's clearly, you can see the confidence, you can almost see it in like real time, the confidence growing in Engels. Been my man of the match so far, although there's been a few you could pick. I think Yang's been pretty good as well, to give him his due. I think he's been good. But yeah, Engels he's having the confidence to go and take it on, and that idea of not being afraid to make mistakes. There's no hesitancy. He's getting in about it. I could see him getting a goal today. I think it would just be deserved with his performance so far. I mean, the only surprise about this game is that it's only 1-0. We have been so dominant. Ball's barely been out our half, and long may that continue.
Well, this is the thing. You see these teams, they're kind of, playing for their life. They really are trying to just, it's damage limitation, and they're wasting time from the first kick of the ball, Quinny. The subs are kicking 2 balls on the park. The goalie's taking an age to take everything. And you know what? It can be frustrating, but at the same time, I look at it and I think they've got to. They have got to try their hardest to increase the effectiveness of those kind of fine margins. And by the way, it's only 1-0. It is only 1-0. And all it takes is for that ball to hang up in the wind and for a defender to get under it, Quinny. So I get that. That is the only criticism, really, of the first half, is that it's only 1-0. But we've said it time and time again this season. We seem far better in the second half, and that's going to be frightening for St Johnstone, I think.
Yeah, I think as well, coming into this game, and especially when the team came out at halftime, it's always a good game to, play who will the subs be, and in the last game, I remember putting in the chat, like or might even been the live chat here on the show, but the bench would really lift the ante for us. And, when Maeda comes on, when Ida comes on, the team isn't going to lessen. The team's only going to continue to accelerate. I would echo what Liam said as well about Yang. Like, I think we're all Dyson Maeda fans at this point, but Dyson's much more of like a forward out in that wide left position. And not that Yang's really done anything, but he feels like a winger. Like, it feels like we have, like, Kuhn's also been the main guy, but there's a bit more of like, yeah, it just feels like there's a winger out there all of a sudden, because normally when Maeda's on the ball out there, like, his delivery definitely has a lot left to be desired from a wing standpoint. And again, it just feels like there's a really nice balance into the team. And when the subs come into that, it should just kind of give St Johnstone even more problems to kind of worry about.
Massively.
Players.
Massively. I mean, we were looking at some of the guys that, before the game, you wouldn't expect to start at Ibrox. And the big question, Liam, was, is anybody played well enough that might force themselves into that starting 11? I think Yang's done pretty well. I totally agree with that. But I think Baye's really impressed in that first half. And there's good interplay between, we've already mentioned that trio on the right-hand side. They've created a lot of chances. But on the left-hand side, there seems to be something building there, which is good to see as well, Liam.
Yeah. It's the manager's got difficult choices to make for Thursday, but for all the right reasons. We're looking at pretty much a full-strength squad, and every player is making a play for their respective position. Let's just see this game out, make sure we win it, and bring on Thursday, because I predict something that begins with H and ends in scalping.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. You can't wipe that smile off your face. It's great to see you. Let's get some of the comments coming in. Echo Tonal, right, here we go. Echo Tonal. Thanks for getting involved on the YouTube. Sorry, Acsom, faithful listener here, but I can't wait for the Sevco pods. Listen, what you choose to do on your Sunday night in that strange time between Christmas and New Year, that's entirely up to you. Enjoy it, whatever you get up to. Crossford boy. Crossford as in Fife. Crossford, that's not far from me. Engels has been impressive. I've been very impressed with Engels, both in the game against Motherwell and in this game. I think Brendan Rodgers spoke about this kind of confidence, Quinny. And I kept saying it all season. There was a huge focus on the performances of Arnie Engels. And listen, a massive part of that was the transfer fee. Let's not kid ourselves, right? But when you look at what he's done since he's come to Celtic, he joined us when he was 20 years of age, obviously, then became a Belgian international footballer. He's performed well in the Champions League. He's got a few assists in the Champions League. But yet, people were still looking at him going, we want more. We want more from him. Do you think he was suffering a bit from coming in on the back of Matt O'Reilly? Do you think there was that? Remember the Kieran Tierney effect when Tierney left? Nobody was going to be good enough.
I definitely think the O'Reilly zeitgeist is definitely kind of haunted his kind of, early Celtic career to an extent. But I think like everyone was really impressed with his start he made. I think the problem with Engels, or not the problem, but where the divide in opinion came, where there was like 2 or 3 matches in a row where I remember doing the post-match breakdowns for it, and he was just nothing. He was just invisible. He was just kind of missing in a match in some ways. And he's anything but today. He's everywhere. There's even sections there towards the back end of the half where he's popping up on the left side of midfield, whereas he's been pitched out on the right. And you know, like O'Reilly and Engels, it's a chalk and cheese kind of thing because they are quite different. But, you know, like they do have some similarities, but it's just ripping out him now. And it is against St Johnstone. And this is a sort of game where, like, Kyogo needs to get a goal for me. This is the sort of game you want to see Engels do well. You want to see Hatate do well. And the games where Engels did go missing, I'm thinking like Bruges, I'm thinking Zagreb. It's like the bigger games. So when guys aren't totally at it, as long as they can still show in these games, then there's more than enough like faith or hope to hang on to that they'll continue to push on.
Yeah, I've got a lot of faith in Arnie Engels. I really do. CJ, always great to see you commenting on the YouTube. Hitting form at the right time. Yeah, we are. What was it Roger said last season? This is when we come alive. He's right. That's their confidence shot to bits before we pay them a visit. Absolutely. I mean, who's thinking about Ibrox? I can't move for laughing, says the Slabbering Cabbage. Listen, that is what it's all about. We're Celtic fans, right? And yeah, you're absolutely right. You can't move for laughing, because I'm going to bring it up, and I'm not having a dig, but Lekadu thinks it's weird how Celtic fans watch that other mob. I wasn't watching them. I just seen the score coming in. I'd be asking, why are we not battering teams with nearly 80% possession? We need a proper penalty box striker like Hooper. Hooper's still playing. What is he, 38? I'm not going to start the Gary Hooper back to Celtic campaign. I get what you mean. And but you ask yourself the question, right? When was the last time we had that kind of penalty box striker? Was it Lee Griffiths, do you think? You know, that guy that could get you 30, 40 goals a season. Rodgers doesn't tend to focus on that, though, does he? He doesn't want a talisman. He wants, 5 players in the team ought to be in double figures, Liam.
We don't need that type of player anymore with this system. That's the reality. Anybody in that front three is good for a goal at any given time. You've got the midfield stepping up. McGregor's got a few already this season. Engels looks dangerous every time he comes forward. Hatate, he can do it as well. I mean, even big scales coming up for headers at corners. It's just there are goals all over this team. But I would just concur with our commenter there, airing a bit of caution. Everybody, just remember, overdosing on Sevco tears is a genuine health risk. Drink responsibly, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Drink responsibly indeed. Bobby Killian, loving the direct play we have on both wings today. Absolutely agree with that. I think Yang looks better on the left. I think he looks more effective out there. The Celtic magician, Yang is playing very well with Baye. Shame for him, nobody's finishing his assist. There's been a good few chances created. And Georgie Boy 73, do you think we may now get tickets for the New Year's game? There might be a few available. Let's be honest. And I don't often bring up the same comment twice, but why not? I can't move for laughing, says the Slapping Carriage. Right. Celtic now need to go out there and put this one to bed, Quinny, because we do know, your one bad decision or one misjudged flight of the ball to go into 1-1 and then they shut up shop. But we've created so many chances. We need to get in amongst the goals. Do we approach it any differently, or would you expect us to give the current personnel the first 15 and then we start looking at substitutes after that?
Yeah, I think a lot. Who's going to get protected in this game? Probably Kuhn, maybe Vickers, maybe AJ. Otherwise, Kyogo will get subbed off at some point. It's just inevitable. But yeah, the majority of the squad, it will be keep going, lads. There will be word probably sprinkling through about the Motherwell result, and it might be a bit. Let's go and really put icing on top of the cake. Let's really go and put a show on. Especially when I'm hearing as well a lot of comments. I didn't come through my TV. When the Motherwell second goal came in, my connection to Celtic TV went a wee bit spotty. I don't know if there was just a clamour of traffic at that point or whatever. But apparently in Celtic Park, everyone's singing Brendan Rodgers here for 10 in a row. So that's reverberating around the stadium now. You know what I mean? Then the boys have got to be walking on clouds coming out the tunnel.
Oh, without a doubt. It's the energy. We keep talking about the energy, Liam. And it's incredible how many ex-players we have spoken to since the lockdown campaign, where they've said, listen, Celtic suffered massively from the fact that energy wasn't in the stadium. It creates something a bit special. We've heard so many ex-players and managers, both for and against Celtic, talking about that energy at Celtic Park. Wish I was there, to be honest with you. But I think in the second half, Liam, you're looking at maybe the changes coming in at 65. The only one thing I would say is Rio took a couple of Dillions in that first half. He's another one. You might want to wrap him up in cotton wool as well, Liam.
Aye. Hopefully we get a second goal quite early on, then we can just, like you say, get to about 60, 65 minutes and just switch out. Because, yeah, we've got to look ahead to the next game. Although the way things are going, I don't know if it will necessarily be a much more difficult game than this one. So,
Well,
I will say, I've just seen that St Johnstone have made a triple sub and they've brought on their 2 strikers that have been scoring goals. So I don't know if this was that's why they've been wasting time. First half was kill the first half and then second half bring on the strikers. So Kim Pioka and Sidibe, both these guys have been their guys. You know, they're both on the pitch now. So yeah, maybe a totally different second half.
Could well be.
So it's rope a dope, unless of course you're Motherwell, in which case it's rope 11 dopes.
Well, there you go. We will see what happens in the second half. 45 minutes is a long time in football. Let's join the action and we'll see it full time on A Celtic State of Mind.